Will we see a top 25 team in the Big 12 get upset tonight?
This is Locked On Bets, the daily betting show that means business from the Locked On Podcast Network. Hosted by Lee Sterling and Kevin Rogers, they're dropping fearless picks with an inside edge to put money in your pocket. If there's action, they've got the lock. This is where smart bets start. It's Locked On Bets.
Welcome to the Wednesday edition of Locked On Bets. Kevin Rogers and Lee Sterling of Paramount Sports with you as we take a look at today's card. We always appreciate you making Locked On Bets your first listen of the day here on the Locked On Podcast Network, the number one sports podcast network. We have some more Super Bowl player props to go over. A couple receivers in the Patriots. We'll look at them a little later on. Also an NHL hidden gem. James Harden gets traded again. We'll talk about that as well. But first, let's begin in the Big 12 for our wrong team favorite in college hoops.
What the fuck? WTF.
Don't sleep on the Big 12. You know, everyone talks about the SEC, how loaded it is, the Big 10 in basketball, but the Big 12 with the additions, you know, last few years of Arizona, of Houston, of BYU, which has really stacked the deck in this conference. And big one tonight in Stillwater. BYU goes to Oklahoma State. Cowboys improving, definitely. And the Cougars got a lot of firepower. BYU a road favorite, Lee. So what do you like here with BYU and Oklahoma State?
Yeah, and people don't realize what a home court advantage is in some of these Big 12 venues. So Oklahoma State, traditionally one of the toughest places to play. I mean, they are right on the court, those fans, and they're loud. They're into it, probably still into it because the football team's so bad, so they don't have much to root for. But this team is improving. And you talk about home court advantage. They beat Texas A&M and beat them by 24 at home earlier in the year. They also beat UCF. They beat Utah just in the last week at home, beat them pretty good. And Anthony Ray had 27 points in that game. He is red hot, averaging 17.5 points per game, rebounding the ball. They just move the ball around really well. And people think, oh, okay, BYU's coming off a couple tough games. You know, they'll get right back on track before their next big game. I don't see it. They lost to Arizona and Kansas and just felt that they weren't close there. And then they've got Houston coming up on Saturday. So, you know, the home court advantage is huge in the Big 12 here. And if you're getting 7.5 points with Oklahoma State, I think this game goes right down to the wire. They might even win it outright. We're going to go with Oklahoma State plus all those gorgeous points here. Wrong team favorite. I like Oklahoma State, the Cowboys tonight.
And BYU could be worth a look against Houston in their next game coming up at home, perhaps, seeing how things work out tonight. But Oklahoma State, again, trying to rebuild things. They kind of fell towards the bottom of the Big 12 for a little bit. And again, a really good program for a long time, but now just trying to get back, and we'll see what they do tonight against BYU. So we're bypassing the NBA today. And, I mean, it's not a bailout, but just a fact that it is hard in the next day and a half or so, or 2 days, to handicap these games with all these trades, because then guys get pulled. We saw with the Bulls last night. Nikola Vucevic, he gets traded to the Celtics, so the Bulls are a mess. They lose at Milwaukee. But James Harden, he goes to Cleveland. He goes from LA to Cleveland. I don't think a lot of people are, wishing for that in their life. But we'll see what the Cavs do. Maybe is he going to be the jump start for him, and we'll see if he and Donovan Mitchell can share the ball.
I don't like it at all. I really don't. I think he's a ball hog, and on top of that, plays zero defense. I think Darius Garland's a better player right now. I know he's had some injuries this year, but I think it's a horrible trade for Cleveland. I know they're trying to get over the hump here, but I could see them at the end of the season knocked out in the first or the second round and saying, wow, we got a problem. Now we need a point guard. So James Harden, also a cancer. I just think he's just very selfish. And when you've been with that many teams, usually it's not the teams, it's usually you. It's like someone who's been married so many times. After remember one of her friends was going on her fourth marriage, and she was complaining about one of her exes, and I said, "Do you think it maybe is you?" And She looks, she goes, yeah, maybe I'm difficult. So that's usually the way it is. And look at some of his teammates. How many teams has Westbrook and Durant been on also?
They've gone all over the place. Durant's on his 5th team. Harden's on his 6th team. Westbrook has been on a mess of teams so far. And I always believe the same thing with Jimmy Butler. And I know he didn't play with them, but I feel it's the same thing. Like, they're happy at the beginning. James Harden will be thrilled at the beginning in Cleveland, but I don't know how it's going to fare if things go awry. But on the flip side with the Clippers, though, that they got off to that awful start this year. They've been playing a lot better. They're in 9th in the West. Not saying they're going to win the West by any stretch, but maybe Darius Garland with getting James Harden out, maybe it'll be a little bit of a jump start alongside Kawhi, and they are playing with some confidence now the last month or so.
Yeah, I would definitely not play a future on Cleveland and maybe take a flyer, on the LA Clippers, and we'll see how it works out. I'm going to watch them closely, both teams, but Clippers could be a dark horse.
And we'll see, again, we'll find out by tomorrow if Giannis gets traded or not, where he goes, if the Heat will end up being the team. Pat Riley's going to trade everyone to get just Giannis. So it'll be like 1-on-5 out there. But we'll see how that turns out. We'll hopefully find out before the deadline coming up tomorrow. Just stay tuned to Shams, and he'll let you know. All right, let's take a look now at the NHL. And last night we pushed on the Kraken and the Ducks. Anaheim won the game, but we pushed in the first period play. So we start over again tonight with our hidden gem.
To find a diamond in the rough, you need to dig a little deeper for those hidden gems.
The Battle of Alberta tonight, Edmonton and Calgary. They meet at the Saddle Dome, and I'm taking the Flames here in the first period. It's basically even money. They're plus 100, but a couple notes here. Calgary has actually been a pretty good team to back in the first period at home, in spite of the fact they trailed Toronto 2 nights ago in a loss to the Maple Leafs. In 28 home games this year, Calgary has trailed 6 times after the first period. So they've gotten off to good starts at home. Also, Calgary's beaten Edmonton twice this year in 3 matchups. They have some confidence against their provincial rival. I guess we can call them that. In the last 10 games, Edmonton has led 1 time after the first period. In the last 5 games, they've allowed at least 1 goal in the first period 5 straight times. So Edmonton has not gotten off to good starts. Also, here's something kind of interesting. In, let's see if my math is right, 19 games this year after the Flames have trailed after the first period in the next game, they've trailed only 3 times after the first period. So they don't trail in back-to-back games after the first period that often. So with all that being said, let's go with the Calgary Flames tonight. We'll take them the first period against the Edmonton Oilers as our NHL hidden gem.
I'll ride with you. I mean, you're winning, or at least pushing on all these games of late. Edmonton scares me in full game. They've got so many snipers, but for a period, I can hold my breath for 20 minutes.
Yeah, and the Flames will be fired up. If they're going to get 1 win, beat your team that's not too far away from you there, the 2-time defending Western Conference champion Edmonton Oilers. So we're going to have that as our NHL hidden gem. Coming up, we still have a pair of Super Bowl player props. Super Bowl is coming up Sunday in Santa Clara between the Seahawks and the Patriots. So looking forward to that. We'll have side total that coming up later in the week, but today, player props. That is coming up in just a little bit. You are listening to the Wednesday edition of Locked On Bets. You know what time it is. Sadly, it's almost the end of football season. The last call for football on FanDuel. 1 final Sunday, 1 last kickoff. The final chance to get in on the action before the NFL season officially comes to a close. Super Bowl 60 right around the corner. And FanDuel is making sure you're right in the middle of it with a special offer just in time for the biggest game of the year. You want to back the Seahawks? They're laying points here. You want to take the points of the Patriots? That's a choice. You want to moneyline the Patriots too. That's a nice little payback if New England can come out with the win. Or you could just look at the total for the game, player props inside the game. Also, team props, just so many props you have. And the prop menu is amazing for Super Bowl 60 at FanDuel. Just so many choices you have. If you're not really sure if you want to take the Seahawks or the Patriots, you want to go with the player. Maybe Sam Darnold, Drake May, see what they do, touchdowns, yardage, all the choices. They are there at FanDuel, a perfect way to cap off this season, a fantastic NFL season, and make the Super Bowl even more exciting. If you're a new customer, bet just $5. You get $200 in bonus bets if you win. Make it count, because after the Super Bowl, season's over. Last call for football on FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of Super Bowl 60. Visit FanDuel.com to get started. We continue Locked On Bets here on a Wednesday. Kevin Rogers and Lee Sterling of Paramount Sports, and Super Bowl 60, not too far away from Santa Clara, the Patriots and the Seahawks. So let us now look at, Lee, our double lock of the day.
Open it, open it, open it. Lee has the key to the lock of the day.
Couple Patriot receivers we're going to focus on here with some of their player props, Mack Hollins and Stefon Diggs. So, Lee, lead us off with Mack Hollins and what you like with him.
All right, so Mack Hollins is one of these guys, been around a bunch of different teams, and not good as a starter, but when you got him as your third or fourth guy, not bad at all, and he can stretch the field. Mack Hollins also is able to use his height and long arms to catch some balls in traffic here. Rarely do they throw anything like, flanker screens to the guy or clear outs. They just don't. They like to push the ball down the field when he's in there. And when he's in and he makes a catch, it's usually a big catch and for a first down. So 15.5 yards. If it was like 18.5, 19, I might just not play it. But 15.5, I don't think it's much for him. I have him catching a couple balls, and one will be, I think, at least 20 yards or more. So we're going to go over 15.5 yards. Mack Hollins, longest reception here. It's going to be a level one lock.
And then his teammate, Stefon Diggs. What do you like with his receptions? So
Stefon Diggs, I think he's lost a step. So not the same guy we saw. He's had ACL injuries, come back, and nice guy, seems to be, he's one of these guys that's good for like a year and a half in the locker room, hasn't ruffled many feathers here, but in the playoffs, he's been fine. Last game, 5 for 17 he caught. Game before that against Houston, 4 for 40. 2 for 16 in the first playoff game. But, some of the other games against decent defenses down the stretch, 3 and 2, he did have 2 big games. But let's look at the 2 games in the secondaries he had huge games against. Against Baltimore, 9 for 138 and 6 for 101 against the Jets. This Seattle defense loves to play man for man more than most teams. And, if he's got to beat someone in one-on-one coverage, I just don't see him catching many balls or targeted that often. So I think they're going to throw to their tight ends underneath here more than anything. And he's just not the long ball threat that he used to be. So I think this number is juiced here because of the last 2 games here where he caught 5 and 4 balls. So we're going to go under 4.5 receptions for Stefon Diggs here on Sunday in the Super Bowl. Not all the way, but close. Level 2 lock.
And we'll see again the status of Drake May. I mean, he's going to play. It's just about how effective he'll be. Didn't throw for even 100 yards in the AFC Championship against Denver in that awful snowstorm, but did enough to win that game. But we'll see how that shoulder responds coming up on Sunday against this really good Seattle defense. So, Lee, Super Bowl 60 on Sunday, and Paramount Sports, a lot going on, not only with the Super Bowl, with the player props, but also with basketball and hockey. So still a lot going on here in early February.
Yeah. So tomorrow's show, you want to tune in. We'll have at least one UFC selection. UFC, we've been red hot, on this podcast and also for our clients. We've won 23 of the last 29 cards. I don't think there's anyone that can touch that record. So we're just finalizing the card. That'll come out late tonight. So we'll announce that, but we'll have at least one free selection for the show. And we don't give out like 250, 350 favorites like some of these people out there give out a lot of underdogs. So look for that. Super Bowl, obviously, that's our biggest focus. Super Bowl and top 15 prop plays. If you use coupon code SAVE50, just $97. We've won 5 of the last 6 Super Bowls, 9 of the last 10 player props. We've had a winning record. Normally we do 10. We have 15 this year. Just couldn't number it down. So many juicy ones out there. So get that for $97 with coupon code SAVE50. Basketball, we've been red hot. Hockey, we've done well. They're going to go to the break there in a couple days. So you want to get on there before it's too late. So check everything out, ParamountSports.com, or call 800-400-9741. Start winning today.
And don't forget to like and subscribe to our YouTube channel, Locked On Bets. Also, you can find the podcast version on Spotify or Apple, wherever you get your podcast. Type in Locked On Bets. You will find us there. For Lee Sterling, I am Kevin Rogers. Thank you so much for tuning in to this edition of Locked On Bets right here on the Locked On Podcast Network.